Hey friends, TeresaLouise here, and welcome to Horsing Around on Tuesday. Yeah, that's what we're doing, or that's what I'm doing. So just thought I'd come on for a little while. Not going to stay that long because it looks like it's a beautiful day outside today. So probably need to get out there and do something. But I need for it to warm up before I go out there. Let me get this going. I hope it's live. So impromptu, I know for sure. So, but just thought I'd come on and have a little bit of fun. Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. Still waiting for it to come up on the laptop, of course. There, maybe now. I wish there wasn't such a delay. All right, there we go. Hey, I see some of you. Okay, who do we have? Hey, Polly. Hey, Milena. Hi, Donna. Hello, Susan. Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is doing well today. Glad to see you here. I'm just going to spend a little time working on the horse, and then I'm going to go outside and do a little bit out there because it's such a nice day. And it's still below 60 though, so I'm trying to, it says it's going to warm up by 2 o'clock. We'll see. We'll see if that is true. So I can go out there and do a little bit of yard work, maybe. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But in the meantime, to keep me from housework, I'm going to do some horse work. How do you like that? Horse work? Okay. Little bit of horse work. Now, I would be much further along on this project if I would quit tearing parts off and starting over. Like, I take a picture of it and then I look at it through the picture and I'm like, oh, I don't like that spot right there. And so then I rip it out and do it over again. So I need to quit doing that. I need to get it in my head that this is just the first layer, right? There's going to be other processes going on with the collage. Like I can cover it with tulle, or, it's that netting fabric uh, to get different shades and so forth. Or I could use uh, ink tints pens and make some changes that way. And I mean, or I can use thread painting. So there's a lot of options. So for me to keep tearing it apart isn't very productive. But it kind of reminds me of when I was oil painting. I would do that quite a bit. Paint over things. Like I didn't like that spot, so I would paint over it, you know. Um, so here we are. Like I know this spot needs to change. Some of this is just too dark on this side. So I probably will pull some of this out because going lighter would be a little more difficult than going darker. See, I used the wrong shade, the wrong number over there. I think is what happened. I don't know how I did that, but I did. So that's why it looks so dark over here. Shouldn't be that dark. Up here and this is okay. I feel like this piece is all right. Now I'm on color number 5, which should be almost as dark as number 6 because I only have 6 fabrics. So, hi Donna M. Yeah, muck in the stall. Yeah, I don't want to be no muck in no stalls. I'll pass on that. Been there, done that. Horse stalls, chicken coops, sheep pens, goat pens, cows. I've done all that. Bucking bales, making hay, plowing the fields, that kind of stuff. If we weren't living on a ranch, somebody in my family was, mostly my grandparents, my dad's mom. So, hey Deb, how's it going? Only 3 blocks away from finishing in the So Long Guild is doing. Oh, awesome. That's cool. Susan? Okay, so darker fabrics in here. Now what I could do is, what I might do is just go ahead and jump right into number 6 and then come back into number 5 and blend that in some. And as soon as I get this done, then I'm going to put that other piece of parchment right here. So, I wonder if that would work better doing that. Let's see. Because I think all I have out here is 3 and 4. Which probably doesn't make any sense to you, but I have fabric 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 being the lightest and 6 being the darkest. Feels pretty hot. And this is low enough, I might be able to sit down, which would be good. Hey, Melissa. If you guys haven't yet, should go over and say hello to Danielle. Today is her, or she's celebrating today her 2-year YouTube anniversary. So I popped in for a little bit and said hello and congratulated her. And then I noticed that Sherry was on, so I went over there and said hello to Sherry. And I know there's some other ladies on right now. So a lot of lives going on right now. If you wait, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. I don't mean to do that, because you know, the audience can watch whenever they would like, you know. And if I waited until there was nobody live, I don't think I would ever get to go live because so many people are doing lives now. Let's see. You want me to bring the camera closer? Maybe I will. I know a lot of people like that. Now this fabric I'm putting on here doesn't have to be perfect right within the lines that I have, because the other colors are going to go over it a little bit anyway. Exactly, Donna. That's what I figure. I do like to go over, you know, and stuff, but sorry. Bouncing you around. So here's my box container of number 6. Number 6 fabrics. And I'm out of room. There. Okay. So they're really dark, you know. Almost black, really dark navy blue that has a little bit of violet in it. This really dark purple. And so this is one of those where I can have number 6, number 5, and number 4, and maybe even a little bit of number 3. And that's how I keep getting all my fabrics mixed up, is because of that exact reason right there. The other day when I was doing this, I thought I should have made all of my shapes into hearts. That would have been kind of cool. Alrighty. This brown one is kind of the same way. There's some really dark sections that work great for the number 6. But then there's some lighter browns on here that would be good for 5 and for number 4. So this is one of those other fabrics that get mixed up with different numbers. You can here. Willa's over there chewing on her bone. Well, I think the fire is almost out, so that's good. I went outside for a little bit yesterday afternoon. I had to go to the post office. I was going to go to the grocery store, but the air quality was really bad. It smelled like a smoldering fire, you know, when the fire gets wet and it just smolders. That's how it smelled outside. It was really bad. So I skipped going to the grocery store. Like, no, I don't need to be out here. So I haven't heard for sure, but I think our local fire is getting pretty close to being out. Donna M says, I wish I'd done your way of collage, as I just used the backing material and now I can't remove some of the parts that I want. Yikes. Oh well. It is what it is. Yeah, right. I did that on my dog collage that, you know, was my own pattern thing. It was the first one I ever did, and I put it directly on the fabric, and that just did not work for me. And I started watching more YouTube videos, and I saw Emily Taylor doing it this way with the parchment paper, and oh yeah, it is 100% better, so much easier to change. Now, I still have that dog that, you know, I need to finish up its cookie, and I'm still going to lay over the top of some parchment and fill in the areas that I haven't completed yet, that's on the fabric, and at least finish it up that way. So, or maybe just start all over, because that's not a very big project. Although I do like parts of the dog quilt that I've done. So, but yeah, parchment paper definitely is the way to do it. And the other, you know, of course, great thing about it is I can do this horse pattern as many times as I want, because I'm never going to put this fabric on this pattern, on the fabric pattern. You know, I'm always going to have this pattern available. So when it's ready to put onto something, it'll be the base of whatever I make, you know, the background. Boy, Willie, you're just going to town on that bone, baby. Can you guys hear her? I might have to take it away from her. I mean, she is just... having fun with that bone. You can't tell very much that these darks are so much different, but Polly says, my sweet tater tot is sleeping next to me. He is 10-pound tornado. I'm not sure how much Willow weighs, but she is a border collie, so she's got to be at least 50 pounds, 45, 50 pounds. I need to move this. Oh, laptop up here a little bit further so I can see the chat better. There. Tater does that with his bones too. Oh, you did, Donna? She said she put her collage away for now, and we'll finish it later. Did you get discouraged? Is that why you put it away? That's why I put Cookie, my dog, away, because I got really discouraged with it for that reason, you know, that the fabric was right on, or my pieces were right on the fabric and I couldn't change things. So that's when I decided to mess around with other people's patterns and just get the feel for it, you know. So since I'm using batiks, but this goes for any of the fabric that you're going to use, a lot of times, you know, you can just, you fussy cut your pieces. Or I do, you know, especially when you want darker, lighter shades in places. So you end up fussy cutting. Hey, Shelly. Yes, you did. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, Donna. How about, are you doing any other collage quilt stuff? When I got discouraged on Cookie, I switched over and I got Emily Taylor's couple of her books when they were on sale. And inside her books, she has a bunch of patterns. And they were, you know, still life pictures like teapot, teacups. Here's the teapot or teacup. And so I just started messing around with these because still lives are easier, I think, especially if you're just beginning, because you can get the basic shape and everybody knows that it's still a teacup, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Whereas when you're doing an animal, I think you have to be a little more precise with your lights and your darks and stuff. But you don't have to buy like Emily Taylor's books. If you are a person that's on a budget like most of us, you could get kids' crayon books, coloring books and use those patterns. Like this time of year, you could probably get a lot of Christmas ones. Do Santa Claus and stuff like that. And I'll show you the teapot. Now, this teacup and the teapot, they're fabrics that I picked out myself. Or you could buy a pattern with a kit that comes with the fabric and all that. And sometimes Emily Taylor has those. And she's the Collage quilter. And then there's Tony Whitney, who is the designer on these. But I did pick my own fabrics on those, but those patterns are a little bit easier than this one that I'm doing now. So I feel like those patterns would be like for somebody who knows how to applique, raw edge applique, because that's basically what these are, raw edge applique. And Tony Whitney has a lot of patterns. They're all over on Amazon. And then if you're worried about fabric selection, you could just take that pattern to your local quilt shop and have somebody help you pick out your fabrics. Hi, Jan. How you doing? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So the next time I go to town, I'm going to go to one of the stores. Like nowadays you can find quilt supply or craft supplies in the drugstores, and at least around here. And they're kind of, the drugstores around here are kind of like a general store. I mean, they don't have like milk and eggs and that kind of thing, but they do have some groceries, snacks, snacks. They're kind of like a little mini store, I guess. Anyway, they have color books and all that stuff, so I think I will just pick something up from the drugstore. The one thing that I used to love about Christmas and the start of school was getting a new box of crayons. Now, for school, for some reason, my box was always a little one. It was probably because there was 5 of us kids that needed a box of crayons, and my parents were not, wealthy. And so we all got the small box of crayons. But at Christmas time, because my mom and dad knew that I loved to draw and I loved crayons, I always got that great big box of, 64? I love that. That was like my favorite gift every year. was a fresh new box of crayons. Or paints, brushes, stuff like that. Paper. Oh, thanks, Donna. I'm so glad to hear that. Let's see, she says, that is what I did for my first collage from a coloring book. It was a turtle that I traced from the book. Oh, cool. Then enlarged it. Turned out good, but not so much on this one. Oh, your dog. Yeah. See? Especially our own pets and stuff are probably the hardest because we know that animal so well. And so we want it to really look like a picture, like it really looks like that animal. Like this horse is not a horse that I know, so it doesn't have to be as perfect as my dog collage, right? So I totally get that. Hey, Valerie. Oh, Valerie agrees with me. The joy of the big box of crayons. Yep. And I like getting chalk or colored pencils, any craft stuff really. But I do have to say that the box of crayons and new color books were my, like, I could do with, that's all I needed. Don't buy me clothes, don't buy me shoes, don't buy me socks, just crayons and color books. I can do without all that other stuff. I guess I was easy to shop for. Although I was pretty picky about my clothes, that's for sure. And my shoes, especially. I didn't really care for my mom picking out my clothes because her idea of fashion at the time and my idea of fashion at the time was totally different. So what I ended up doing is at a very pretty young age, like 11, I started babysitting for other people, and mostly like friends from my mom and dad. You know, my mom and dad would want to go out with their friends, and their friends had kids, so they would either bring them over, and or I would go to their house, and I would babysit, and I was really good about saving my money because, especially if I had something I wanted to buy, and I wanted to buy the latest fashionable blue jeans. And I believe they were called hash pants. Something special about the pocket. And yeah, God, they were expensive. So I was like 14 years old, and those pants were like 65 bucks, you know, which was a lot of money for back then. They'd probably be $265 in today's money, but yeah. And so that's what I would do. I would babysit, and my parents' friends were pretty good about how, you know, giving me lots of money for babysitting because they always came home drunk. Or maybe not totally drunk, but you know, they've had a few, right? They're pretty happy. They got to get out, and so, you know, even if I only babysitted for a couple hours, they'd give me 20 bucks, you know. I loved it. So, yeah. So then I could buy my own shoes, my own shirts. So I pretty much would work all summer, save money, and then I would buy my own school clothes. I mean, my mom still bought my socks and underwear and stuff like that, but she didn't. And if I didn't have enough school clothes, you know, that I bought, then she would buy me a little bit more. But she did get to where she would take me with her when she went shopping and make sure that I got the stuff that I liked. Otherwise, I wouldn't wear it, you know. So that was a waste of money. One thing about going to school, and I'm sure a lot of you will probably agree with me, is if you don't have the right fashion of clothes on, you really get picked on. So mamas need to remember that. Like if I had kids nowadays, I would actually like to observe the kids, see what they're wearing. So I can make sure my kid has the appropriate clothing on. I mean appropriate. I don't mean like tank tops and uh, short shorts, stuff like that. Got to be appropriate. Of course, then I would also be telling my kids, if you want some sort of designer something that costs, you know, $200, then you better get a job. Because that ain't happening. Oh, Polly, that's cool. She said, my grandmother made 90% of our clothes, and I started making my own clothes by 12, 13 years. I didn't start sewing until I was like, with a sewing machine. I sewed by hand, you know. I made doll clothes and stuff like that. Um, but I think I want to say 14, and that was in home ec. But believe it or not, now you guys are going to find this probably strange because a lot of you think I have a lot of patience, right? Because I'm doing this. Uh, but when it came to making my own clothes, I had no patience whatsoever. None. I'm like, why am I doing this? I could just buy it. Why do I need to know how to put in a zipper? You know, I just was not into it. I did like the cooking part of the class. Um, some of the things I learned in that class, I'm still use today. So yeah, like I didn't mind if my mom made our dresses, but not pants. And I pretty much quit wearing dresses to school probably by maybe the 6th or 7th grade. But yeah, before that, it was always dresses. And my mom would make some of those. I did the same thing, Donna. Wear that one new outfit over and over again. Especially the pants, right? If they're blue jeans, just change your top. And I had two other sisters, so I could go, rifle through their stuff, and they could rifle through mine. So we all pretty much shared. Craft Crafters, sewists are not patient people usually. Really? I would think like with quilting, piecing a quilt top, I'm fairly patient up to about 3/4 of the way, at 1/2 to 3/4, and then I'm like, God, is this ever going to get done? I did in my home ec. I tried to make a pair of pants. I think I just said, but the zipper part just really did not turn out well, and the pants were like slacks. So, I'm 14 years old. Those are really not cool. So, why I made those, I don't know. I mean, they would have been good for my mom, probably. I guess I made them because we had to. But what 14-year-old kid is going to want to wear polyester slacks, when, that just was not the in thing. I think our teachers were, out of sync with fashion. I still can't put a zipper in clothes. Not that I've tried. Um, I do put zippers in project bags and, you know, little sewing projects like that. Oh, you couldn't share clothes with 5'10" and 5'3"? Oh, wow. Yeah, even her skirts would be too long on you, and your skirts would be too short for her. The first zipper I put it in the kick pleat of my skirt. I don't even know what that is. My mom used to also go to thrift stores and buy clothes, which I didn't really mind that. Never really knew what a thrift store was, when I was really little, so I didn't really care. But then, I want to say I was like in 4th grade, and some girl came up to me and said, "Oh, I like your pants. I used to have a pair just like that." And, but I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. you know? I was like, oh crap, am I wearing this girl's pants? And then after that, I never wanted to wear um, Goodwill, thrift store clothes to school anymore. And now I don't care. I mean, I buy, you know, as an adult, I buy thrift store stuff all the time. Or yard sales, especially if the clothing looks, you know, pretty new, or especially if it still has the tag on it, you know. Oh, Willa's got a bone. It's got a elk bone leg. Going to town on it. She's had it for like 2 years. Brandon just cut the, you know, out of the leg of the deer or elk. So the bone was, you know, pretty big. And he scraped most of the stuff off of it, except for he didn't take the bone marrow out. And they loved him. He gave him to him for Christmas one year, and oh my God, they were so happy, and they still are. Now she's got her feet laying on it, and she's taking a nap. Yeah, polyester, not good. That is for sure. I think, well, my younger sister, her and I are pretty much the same height. She's just maybe a half an inch, maybe, or inch shorter than me. And my older sister was just a little bit taller than me. And I'm 5'5" and a half. So me and my older sister could swap clothes all the time. We were pretty much the same size, although she got, you know, a little bigger up in the top. But, you know, but me and my younger sister were 5 years apart, so we couldn't really share clothes. I did have a brother who was a year younger than me, and we were about the same height, tall, for a long time, and so I could steal his pants every now and then because he always wore, you know, blue jeans, and that would, you know, piss him off. Taking his clean pair of blue jeans. And sometimes I could wear his shirt, depending on what it was, like a t-shirt or something like that, you know. I was kind of a tomboy growing up. I like to do all the outdoor stuff. And I like to play with cars and trucks and um, because me and my younger brother were, you know, pretty close in age. I don't know. And he was just funner to play with than my older sister. Maybe because she was so bossy. Hey, Lisa. Working and lurking. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would take my Barbie doll type dolls outside and use them when we were playing trucks and stuff like that. They got used outside. I don't want to go too far down on here because I need to tape my next piece of parchment on there. Oh, I've been up since 1:30. I could not sleep. So I laid there for a good half hour, tossing and turning. Finally said, you know, piss on it. And got up, made some coffee. And then after about an hour, I just kicked back on the couch, laid down. I thought, well, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep, right? Which I did fall asleep. And then woke up about 7 o'clock. And now I'm tired. Starting to feel ready for that 1 or 2 o'clock nap. I got this end way too long. So I could just put it under this dark one. 5 o'clock, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, my little brother played with my dolls too, but the trucks had to be involved. Otherwise, he wouldn't play with them. You know, no one wants to hire older women in that category. I think, really. Um, Donna says, I never had dolls. I had trucks and cars to play with. I still like trucks and got my class 1 in trucking. Never got a chance to use it. Oh, Valerie says, your horse reminds me of a lovely retired gray something. I can't see the word. Horse that I saw last week at the horse show. Oh, let's see. This gray dressage. How much do greeters make at Walmart? I wouldn't mind doing that part time. I think that would be kind of fun. You get to see all kinds of crazy people come into the store. I'd be like taking pictures all the time. But, I say it would be fun because I don't mind greeting people, saying, hello, how are you doing? Can I direct you in whatever, where you need to go in the store or whatever. That wouldn't be too bad. I like being a hostess at a restaurant, greet people that came in. Hello, how are you today? How many be in your party? I didn't mind that part. Those were some of the jobs I had when I was really young. You know, I think my first restaurant job was I was 15. Oh, okay, Valerie. It's when a horse does special movements. The horse and rider as one with dance like moves. Wow, that's cool. What kind of older women are people looking to hire nowadays? I've been out of the workforce for, 15 years probably. So, yeah, I'd be curious. Okay. Oh, I gotta stand up. Like around here, I think I could get hired pretty easy if I wanted to down at the grocery store or the restaurants. And so at like the grocery store, you'd be a cashier and you'd put, groceries on the shelves and stuff like that. And I suppose that wouldn't be too bad. Boy, when I first came up here, it was so cold. I had to turn the heater on for a little bit. Now it's warm. Yeah, I couldn't go to work because I can't guarantee how many hours I could work. So if they tried to schedule me for like 4 hours, I might only be able to work 1 hour, maybe two. Who knows? It's different every day. So like if they wanted to hire me for when I feel like it, that would be perfect. Like if she said, just come on down and stock shelves whenever you feel like it, I, then I might be able to do something like that. I don't know. As long as I don't have to pack anything too heavy. So that might not work either. uh, I have tried to go to work in the past 15 years at different jobs, but it just didn't work out. So, for that reason, because of my back mainly, and fibromyalgia, all that happy crap. Let's see. I can hear the MMA on downstairs. Oh, class 3 driver's license for like gravel trucks? Oh, huh. I don't think I could do that. Be a lot of bouncing around. Yeah, my last job didn't really start out 100% of a desk job. It was like land management for a corporation where I maintain the water rights, land use, um, billings, uh, hired contractors, stuff like that. But I was outside quite a bit too. So I would say it was probably 50-50 for a while. But after my accident with on an ATV rollover and messed up my back and my hip, then they tried to put me more into the desk stuff, but and that kind of worked a little bit for a while, but my back was just, and I did not want to have surgery or, anything. Then I got one of those, a desk that you can elevate So that helped quite a bit. So I could sit for a while and then stand up and sit and stand up. But after that accident, my fibromyalgia got so bad that I was just, too exhausted to go to work. I could hardly even get up the stairs on some days. And of course, the stress of possibly losing my job and all that stuff, none of that helped. But anyway, that's a long, sad story, and we don't want to go there. That's a good idea, Valerie. Work about 10 hours a week. Yeah, my last job too, I cut it down to 20 hours a week. Except for during hunting season, somebody needed to be there, so then I would try to work 32 hours a week. It was a good job, except for rolling the four-wheeler. But that wasn't 100% my fault, so I mean, I guess it boils down to my fault because I should have checked the tire pressure before I drove it, because the last person that used it overinflated the tires, and I mean by a lot, almost triple. And you can't do that on four-wheelers, um, especially in rocky terrain. So hit a bump, and the tire was like a balloon, and it just flew up in the air, flipped over, landed on me. Yeah, they had to call Life Flight. I had a hard time walking for a while after that, especially with the fractured pelvis and ruptured disc. But I still worked like 5 years after that accident. But I pushed myself, which wasn't good. Constantly going to physical therapy, acupuncture, massage therapy, just to try to keep working. But that's what you do when you're used to working, right? It's 1:30. I think I'm going to go ahead and go because it's supposed to be warm outside now, or warmer. I'm like, it's been so cold around here. I want to wear, my long johns. The other day, I got chilled so bad I could not get warmed up. So I crawled in the covers and turned on the um, electric blanket. Let's see. Okay. Well, I got that black in there. Need some over here, up here. Yeah. Right here, right here. And then I can switch to number 5. There, and now see, I marked this one wrong. That's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be, no, that's right. It is number 5. Okay, not there. That's number 5, not 6. What's that one? That one is 5 or 6. So I can leave these out. Maybe come up and do a little bit later after I enjoy some outside time. Get everything turned off. Oh yeah, landscaping, that'd be tough. I helped a friend out with landscaping for a little while one time, and my first husband and I started a landscaping company. Well, more of putting in the sprinkler systems in people's yards. We did that for a few years, but then, and he was more. It was more of a part-time thing, I think, because he had another job too. But we were trying to save up for a house, so which we did. So that was good. So both of us were working like, 2, 3 jobs, trying to save up money for a house. I've done a lot of different jobs. One of these days I ought to write them all down. Count them up. Oh, yeah. I have a sheet, a heating blanket, a quilt, and a down comforter on my bed. And yeah, I do keep the window cracked open a little bit because I like the fresh air. But sometimes during the night I have to close it because it gets like 40, 45 at night, which is pretty cold. Um, Lisa, I am planning on doing that sometime. That's always been one of the things that I wanted to do, pet portraits, either in oils or fabric. But I have to get much better at fabric collage and faster before I would even think about doing collages for other people because with how slow I am, you know, they couldn't afford it, right? But yeah, I belong to a couple of different collage groups on Facebook, and there are quite a few people on there that do collages for other people and their pets, mostly. I have no idea what they charge, none. Um, but there's some really, really good fabric collage quilters out there, I'll tell you what. Um, so, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm not trying to really shortchange myself. I just know I would just like to be faster at it. And because this is a new medium for me. It's not like I've been doing it for a lot of years. And I guess I would like to be more confident in my abilities. Only in the 60s overnight and highs in the 80s. Oh, that would be nice. Well, I like it a little cooler than 60 at night. Donna M., it was hard. Because that last job I had, I really did love it, a lot because I could be outside and inside, and it was on a ranch that 10,000 acre working cattle ranch is what it was originally, and then Idaho Power bought it, and um, it turned into more land management and wildlife habitat type place. And so I really learned a lot. But before Idaho Power bought it, I worked with natural resources and other government agencies to improve the land for wildlife and cattle. And so it was so interesting. And I really enjoyed working with NRCS and the Oregon Fish and Game and contractors and stuff like that. And we had like three creeks or streams or springs, on the property that flowed down through most of the property. And we fenced it out away from the cattle so the cattle would stay out of it, which was a big deal. And you have to do it right. You have to provide areas of shade because cattle, they're like any other animal. When it gets hot, they want to be in the trees or next to the water, that kind of thing. And so you had to take all that into consideration. And so we put in water troughs and shaded areas. And once those things were in, then I got to go in and plant trees and grasses and other wildflowers and stuff like that. It was just really cool, a really cool job. And then I worked with water rights too. So I had to make sure that because not only was it a working ranch with cattle and a few horses, but they also had hay and alfalfa and all this. And so they needed the water, right? So I had to make sure all the water rights were up to date and that they were using it correctly and in the right places. So we didn't get any fines. It was a really, really interesting job. And I worked there probably, I want to say 5 or so years before Idaho Power bought it. And Idaho Power bought it as part of their mitigation with the federal government. Um, Idaho Power is a power company over here on the West Coast, and most of their power comes from hydro dams. So the government, um, in their wisdom, determined that because of the water fluctuations in the Snake River and other tributaries, that they were damaging wildlife habitat, and so the company had to buy so many acres and do wildlife management on them. And so this ranch happened to be, like I said, it had those three water things in it, and the property butted up next to the Brownlee Reservoir, and this is all in eastern Oregon. And it was a, oh, there goes the, is that the ambulance? And it was a migration trail for elk and deer. So that was another big plus. Anyway, so then I worked for them for quite a few years. Yeah, it was really interesting. I I think some of my favorite parts of that job, besides working with the contractors, was taking pictures, going back to the areas where I planted trees and grasses and all this stuff. And every year I would go back in and photograph in the same location, right? And I had a measuring device to see how tall things were getting, you know. And um, so I did that up both all three creeks, and it was so interesting to see what a difference just fencing those off made. You guys would be like, it was like night and day. And you could even see where the cattle would come up to the fence, and they would graze all along the outer side of the fence, and of course they couldn't get to the other side. um, and the right side would just be dust, and inside the fence was this beautiful lush, the trees were growing, the brush was growing. Don't get me wrong, I love cows. I just think with cattle that we should manage the land, um, where it benefits everybody, right? I mean, the cows still had places to get water, they still had shade, they still had, you know, range where they could eat and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, yeah. So, I think if I had to decide, that was probably my favorite job. Oh, Polly, that would be exciting to see the horses and training and all that. Yeah, that would be really exciting. Mixed medium part oil with fabric touches for a 3D effect would be beautiful, and you are great at both. I don't know about that, Lisa. Wouldn't the oils end up cracking the fabric? I would have to test that. Hmm. You know, I have thought about the fabric and using fabric pens, you know, like ink tints and stuff like that. I think those would work, but I don't know about oil. Acrylic, oh, maybe. You know, I would have to test it or look it up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, treat it. Yeah, you could like after you're done with your fabric, treat it and then come back over it with oils or acrylic. I'm going to have to try that. Might try and look it up on YouTube too and see if anybody's done it. Hmm, that's a that's an interesting idea. Food for thought. Oh, that's cooled off. Okay, well, I better let you go. Yeah, Donna, that's true. She says, but you're an artist, so you try to do perfect. Yes, I do try to do perfect. That's one of my faults. Yeah, ink tints. That's what I was thinking. I like that, Lisa. She said, I have not heard of it and I do not paint, but ideas always flow through my brain. I'm like that too. Well, thanks for stopping in, you guys. I had fun. It was really good to see ya. And don't forget, this Saturday, we're going to be doing Jelly Roll. And I'm going to start out on Donna's channel at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I believe it's 12 o'clock Eastern Time over on Handmade by Ying. And then I believe I will be going live with Katie from Greenland Quilter. And that starts at 1:30 my time. So that'll be 4:30 Eastern Time. And that's this Saturday, the 20th, which is Jelly Roll Day. So you guys take care and I hope to see you soon. I am going to try and come on Thursday for a little bit of artsy stuff. So maybe I'll see you on then, okay? All right. Love you guys. See you next time. Get out there and make something, even if it's trouble.